Hey everyone, welcome back to another fun and exciting Algebra 1 class. Today we're going to continue to talk about the Cartesian plane, and in today's lesson we're actually going to talk about something called the slope of the line. Okay, and let's just get right into it. Look down here at the screen and it says that the slope is the incline of the line, or the amount of change from one point to another point. So if something is very steep, okay, like this, it's got a very steep incline. But then if something is not very steep, then it's what it is the difference in the 2 points. So if one point's here and one point's here, okay, and we move it, it's a very steep incline, very steep, okay. But if we change it and this point's over here, it's not a very steep incline, okay. The incline is very small. And we're going to talk about that and what that means. Well, there's a little formula with slope. So if you look down here, it says slope equals rise over run. You need to know that. You need to memorize that. Slope equals rise over run. What does that mean? Well, rise is your y. Rise is going up and down. When you rise, you get up, okay? And the run is your x. When you run, I'll drop my pen. When you run side to side. So your run is your x, and your rise is your y. All right, sorry about that. All right, the other way that I wrote it is using arrows, and so maybe this will help you. The rise is the up and down. Now, rise could also be a drop, okay? And so we'll talk about that, what that looks like. And then the run is the left or the right, okay? And so you need to kind of make sure that you know that there's 3 different ways to just kind of really say what slope is. Rise over run, y over x, or up and down over left and right. Different ways to think about it. All right, let's look down here at an example. Let me blow this up just a little bit for you. So what I have here is I have 2 points. Now, technically, I could take and I could draw a line through those 2 points. Let's see if I can do that real quick here. All right. It's a little bit challenging on here to try to draw a line, but there we go. That's close enough. Okay, we'll go with that. So those 2 points have a line through them. Now, what is the slope of that line? What is the incline of that line? Well, you can figure it out by doing this. Look, rise over run, or the y over the x, or the up over the down, up and down over the left and right. Okay, so there's 3 different ways that we can kind of look at this. Well, let's look at this. Let's start with this point. Why start with this point? I don't know, I just picked that point. You could start with this point if you wanted to, but it made more sense to me to start with that point. So what is the numerator of our fraction? Well, it's the rise. How far up are we going to get to this point, to get to that point right there, to get to that line, if you will? Well, we're going up 1, 2, 3, 4. And look, now we're on that line. So we rose 4. And that's a positive 4. Make sure you're putting the signs with this, because if you don't put the signs with this, you're going to get messed up real quick, because slope has a positive and negative. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but put the signs. Over, that's the y, that's the rise, that's the up and down. Over, how far over do we need to go to get to this line, to get to this point? 1, 2. We need to go over 2, and we're going to the right 2. So it's positive 2. Well, that's not a good fraction, is it? Okay, we can do something with that. We can reduce that. And so what we want to do is reduce that, and that's going to reduce to 2 over 1 or to 2. Now, I personally like writing slope in a fraction always. I always write it over 1. Now, normally we don't write fractions like that. But here in this case, we want to write our fraction like that. Why? Because we want to signify that it is slope, that it's x over y. Excuse me, y over x. I said that backwards. It's y over x. So we want to signify that. We want to let everybody know. Don't forget this is slope. So if you write slope like this with just the 2, it's not wrong. I'm not going to mark it wrong. In fact, it's fine. The book writes it like that. But I tend to like it like this better with the 2 over 1. It makes a little bit more sense to me because we're looking at slope. But let's look at this over here again. So this is 4 on the up and down. And then we went over 2 spots. Up and down 4, left and right 2. 4 over 2, convert your fraction. There's your slope, 2 over 1 or 2. Now, I said that I would show you something else, and I want to show you what happens if I start at the other point, and this is going to be interesting, so hopefully you can follow this. What if I start at this point? Now watch. Now, we have the same line, so the slope is not going to change, but I want to show you something that does change. 1, 2. Now, notice which way we went. We went to the left 2 spots. Okay. Now, and we could start with going down if you want to. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it doesn't matter which way that you go there. If you want to start going this way, that's fine, and then go down, or we could start going this way. In fact, let's do this. We started going up last time, so let's start on the numerator. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we went down 4, so that's going to be a negative 4 over 1, 2. Negative 2. Why? Because we're going to the left. We went down, negative, left, negative, negative 2. Now I want you to see something about this. Negative 4 over negative 2. When you have a fraction with 2 negative signs, what happens? Whenever in math, whenever you have 2 negative signs in the same problem or right next to each other, what happens? Well, it becomes positive, so this is going to equal a positive 4 over 2, which would then equal a positive 2 over 1, which would then equal a positive 2. So that would, you'd still get your same slope, and it's still a positive slope. Okay? And so it doesn't matter which way you start, it's going to end up being the same answer. So I like to keep it positive in that case, so I like to go up instead of going down, but you can go down and left, that's fine, but just be careful with your positive and negative signs. All right, let me do one other thing here with this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of this point right here, and I'm going to change this up, and I am going to put a point right, here. Okay. All right, so what is that point? Well, I don't know. Let's count it out. Let's see, I just put a random point there. So we're going to go down 1. So the y is negative 1. What's the x? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 9 on the x. So 9, negative 1. That's our point. Okay, so I should have written that a little bit closer. I'll write that a little closer. 9, negative 1. All right, so now the question is, what is our slope? So if we draw a line, I'm not going to draw one, but if we draw a line there, what is our slope of this line? Now watch what happens here. I'm going to go, I'll start with this point. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. I went down 4. That's my y because I went down. And then I'm going to go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and so that is my slope, negative 4 over 5. Now, so this line has what's called a negative slope. This is a negative sloping line. So if you look at that line, it's going this way. If a line goes up to the left and down to the right, so up to the left, okay, going this way, and down to the right, then it is a negative sloping line. If a line goes this way, where it's going up to the right, so up here, it's going up, then this would be a positive sloping line. This would be a negative sloping line. So you can see the difference on the way that the lines slope. Positive, negative slopes. All right, so hopefully you got kind of most of that right there. But you can have a negative slope, you can have a positive slope, you can have two negatives, negative, negative. Well, that becomes a positive. Okay. All right, now what happens is there any other way to solve this? Well, that's interesting that you ask, and the answer is yes. So let me change this over to a blackboard real quick, so maybe it'll be easier for you to see. What we're going to do now is we're going to solve this mathematically instead of solving it on the graph paper. And so what we're going to do is we're going to learn the, let me tell you this while we're right here. The way that they abbreviate slope in algebra, in geometry, in trigonometry, in all of math, is they use the letter M. Slope equals M, M equals slope. Why? I don't know. Good question. They just did. They didn't want to use S, okay, and so they used M. So make sure that when you see the letter M, that signifies slope. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take these 2 points right here, and that's all they give us, and we don't have our graph paper anymore, so let's say that we can't really count. Now, we could still count, but what we want to do is we want to plug this into what's called an algorithm or into a formula. So let's learn the formula for slope. If you will look on page 102 in your book, you will see that the formula for slope, it says slope of a line in a plane, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you're going to see what this looks like in just seconds. Not really that bad of a formula. It's actually pretty easy. You just plug things in. So you go back here to your points, and you're going to call this, let's call this the number 1, and then let's call this one down here the number 2. I don't know why, I just called it 0.1 and 0.2. So we'll call this 0.1, and we'll call this one down here 0.2. All right, why? I don't know. I could have called the other one 0.1 and the other one 0.2. I could have switched them. It doesn't matter. I just randomly, arbitrarily called the pink one 0.1 and the purple one 0.2. I could have called the purple one 0.1. Okay, and you'll see the formula doesn't matter. You can switch it around. You'll still get the same answer because it's the same slope. So let's go over here, and this is 0.1. So remember that when we have this, this is our x and this is our y. And down here, this is our x and this is our y. And that's the way that these coordinate points work. So when I go down here to my formula, it's y2 minus y1. Well, what's y2? Well, this is y2. That one right there. Why? Because it's 0.2 and it's the y on 0.2. So y2 is -1 and y1 is 3. So -1 minus 3 over, see, that's y2 minus y1. So now we need x2 minus x1. What's x2? 9. What's x1? 4. 9 minus 4. And then we just solve that. There's our, all we had to do is memorize this and then plug into it, okay? And now we have to do the math. And so what is 1 minus, -1 minus 3? That would give us, well, how do you do that one? Okay, well, in algebra, you would say, okay, if I'm subtracting, I change the sign of the second and add. And so -1 minus 3 is minus 4. So minus 4 over, and this one is 9 minus 4 is 5. So if you remember just a second ago when we did this, when we counted it, we got -4 over 5. Well, obviously we're going to get the same thing because we're using the same points. And so our answer is going to be the same, -4 over 5, okay, using the formula. So the formula is pretty quick and easy. You just need to memorize it. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Notice this is not squared, okay? It's a subscript. It's underneath. It's not superscript. It's not the exponent thing. And so all that is doing is telling you that it's 0.2. So use 0.2 for those ones. and the other one is 0.1. So plug it in, work it, do the math. -4/5 is our slope. So the way that you would write that is, don't forget, it's m equals slope. So you would write m equals -4/5. And that would be your answer. Okay, so let's say that they give you a question that looks like this. I've drawn this out on the board so you can take a look at it. They say, all right, there is a point at 2, 0. So look right here. I have a point at 2, 0. And then they say there is a line that has a slope of 2, 3. So I drew a line with a slope of 2, 3. Now, how to do that is basically you're just going to go up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. And that's going to give you your line. Not a big deal that you understand that right this second, because this is the solution of this is going to show you what's going on. Well, how do you solve this? Well, it's actually not too hard. You just go over here to your point 2, 0, and it's that point right there. And then I go to this. Remember, this is y over x, or up and down over left and right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up 2. 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2. And then I'm going to go over 3. 1, 2, 3. Now look, I'm right on my line. When I go up 2 over 3, I'm right on my line. Now I want to show you something else. Watch, this is kind of cool. Because remember, we could also say that this slope right here, this 2, 3 slope, is -2 over -3, right? Because it's a positive slope. So negative gives us positive. So watch what happens when I do that. If I go down 2, 1, 2, and I go over 3, 1, 2, 3, I'm right back on my line again. Every time I move that 2 up or down and 3 right or left, I'm going to continue to be on my line. I'll do it again right over here. 1, so I'm going to go up 2, 1, 2, and then I'm going to go over 3, 1, 2, 3, and then boom, there I am on my line again. I'll do it right here. I'll go down 2, 1, 2, over 3, 1, 2, 3, and there I am right back on my line again. So every time I keep doing that up 2 or down 2 and over 3, I continue to be on my line. Why? Because I'm following the slope of the line. I'm just guiding myself up or down the line. So just follow your line, follow your slope, find your point, and then you can construct your line based on your slope. Okay? Okay, one more thing that I did want to show you is the horizontal and vertical lines. This is on page 103 in your book. And the horizontal is when the y equals 0. In other words, there is no slope. Watch this. If I put 0 over 7, okay? 0, what is the math on 0 over 7? Well, 0 over 7 equals, this one is no slope, or 0 slope, okay? So when you have a horizontal line, it's a flat line. It's 0 slope. The line doesn't incline at all. Now, it's similar with the vertical line, except for the vertical line would be the denominator equals 0, or you'd have 7 over 0. Now, in math, if you put 7 over 0 in your calculator, it's going to say math error. You cannot have a 0 in the denominator. It doesn't work. So this one is what we call undefined. Undefined. Okay, so let me draw a real quick graph here. I've got a little graph here underneath here. And so if I have 0 slope, I'll use the pink line to represent what 0 slope looks like. 0 slope looks like a flat line, okay? It's not up or down, it's just going flat, okay? Now, undefined in the purple line here is when the 0 is in the denominator, and what it looks like is it looks like a vertical line. So let's write that here with vertical, undefined. That's the purple line, vertical line. The pink line, horizontal, 0 slope, that's this pink line right here. It's not sloping at all. It's flat. Vertical, the purple line, that's called undefined slope, and horizontal slope, 0 slope. Okay? All right, that's all I have for you in today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you learned something. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.